In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. Oh, man, we have another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix, and I'm excited about this episode. And you want to know why? Because we're going to get away from being kind of so serious. I mean, the world's just a dumpster fire right now, isn't it? I mean, with everything going on. And so I want to talk to you about somebody in my life, somebody who's great, great friend, family to me. And without this particular person, these podcasts could not happen. And I'm talking about my good friend, my brother in arms and namesake, Bryce Prescott, who is just instrumental in my life, especially with these podcasts, with this company, Audio Automated. I always want to make sure I get the company right. That'd be stupid of me if I didn't get it right. So Bryce Prescott, let me tell you about this guy. So I'm in this organization called Wake Up Warrior. Been in it for since 2018. And Wake Up Warrior has had over 55,000 men come through it, and now has women in the program too. And it's got a simple code. It's tell the truth, stop the line, and do the work. First of all, you got to stop the line, then tell the truth, then do the work. And so, that's the foundation, that's the code, and they focus on the domains of body, being, balance, and business. And it was founded by Garrett J. White, who's also the CEO. So this particular organization, you're not going to beat it anywhere. I don't care what people say. It's real. It's raw. It's relevant. They walk the talk. It's just like no other organization I've been associated with or a member of. Well, about a little over a year, I guess almost a year ago, Garrett had Bryce Prescott on live. We have these things called weekly council meetings. And let me tell you, it's like having your own board of directors, professionals from every industry you can think of, all incomes from millions of dollars to hardly any money. I mean, just an assorted group of people that are leaders, living in truth, fighting the good fight. So anyway, they had Bryce Prescott on and, talk about marketing and got into about podcasting. And so I met him live on that broadcast that we were doing. And I'm like, you know what? Something just went off inside me. What was that? What was that? I know I had to stop and think, and then an idea came to me. Yeah, like that. And so I thought, as soon as we got off the call, I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. And so I sent him a chat, and we started talking. And I'm like, man, it was like divine revelation. And so the next day, I went ahead, within 24 to 48 hours, I hired him, paid him and hired him, and had no idea where this journey would take me. And within, maybe a week or two, it was pretty quick, the equipment came in. And I was like, wow, I mean, it's pretty quality equipment, the roadie, whatever you want to call it, equipment. And I began to set it up. And of course, I called Bryce, and he, helped me just in a snap, set all this up. And I was like, man, I have my own podcast studio already. And so I've always been a great writer. That's one thing that very few people can challenge me on is my writing ability, my writing skills. Speaking skills take constant repetitions. And of course, even though being a lawyer and going into court, it's a different type of speaking. But I got to tell y'all something. There's just something magic about podcasting. It's just, you get in this spirit, this realm, this groove, and it's just this liberation, this freedom that I have found with doing podcasting and working with Bryce Prescott. And so as we rolled out Escape the Legal Matrix, he and his team came up with the background, the logo, and of course I record each week, send it to them and their wonderful production team, and Bryce Prescott with hands-on, I mean individual, individual, just from A to Z, just in the production of Escape the Legal Matrix. And not only that, of course, the levels I've hired him for is to, we're building out Escape the Legal Matrix and the junior partner program for law students to open, own, operate, and lead their own law firms. And so I talk to Bryce Prescott probably a couple of times a week. And this is the type of guy, this is the type of entrepreneur, this is the type of leader that you want to be associated with in your company, in your business, no matter what you do. I feel, and I am 100% certain that podcasting, that your message has to be put out there. If you own a company, if you own a business, whatever you're doing, there are people out there that want to hear what you have to say, that need to hear what you have to say. And it's just been, this whole podcasting thing has just opened up new doors and new paths and new possibilities. It's taken me from, I was in these pits to this peak. And I look forward every week. And I can do it more than, I can do podcasting anytime I want. I can do it more than once a week. But I find it's just a special time when none of my staff are here. It's just me, my dog Drake. He's a Labrador Retriever. He's our law firm mascot, so he's going to be here. In fact, he's here right now, laying down. Hopefully he won't start snoring during this recording. But there's just something that's just so, soul cleansing, soul detoxing when you're able to just be in these moments where you can talk to all of you. And I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful to have Bryce Prescott and his team in my life. And I'm so blessed and grateful to have all of you in my life to be able to come to you each week and talk to you about, the legal matrix and what's going on in the world, especially in this thing that, called the legal system, the justice system. I call it the legal matrix because that's what it is. And just to have that freedom and that ability and that, that freedom of speech to go out there on the airwaves and the social media platforms and just, live in truth and operate in truth and be the best version of who I can be can only come as a result of having this type of freedom, especially in this realm of podcasting. Now, conversely, I find some people that try and do this podcasting thing on their own without any assistance from professionals. Excuse me. And those have seen, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to have a pro doing this. You got to have somebody that knows what they're doing that can put this together. And that's why I hired Bryce Prescott. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I get frustrated with computers, electronics and stuff. And I have a carry conceal and I have a 9mm. And I got to be honest with you, there are some days I just want to lock and load and just blast away at some of these machines, What? Oh, okay. It's a warning. I get it. Oh, stop. All right. I'll stop those bad thoughts. But I do. I mean, sometimes I really do. I get so frustrated, like with the remote control or computers, that if I were allowed to fire off rounds in the city limits without me having to go to the range, there'd be a lot of computers, electronic devices with 9mm bulls in it. But he and his team just make this such a great experience. I mean, they really do. And having conversations with him and just giving me, great ideas and great concepts and just making me this best version of who I can be in my ability to communicate and to get out my message and to do this thing we call strategic seduction. What strategic seduction, we can certainly talk about on another episode, but it's something that you all should burn in your brain about communicating your message and converting mindsets. And again, we can get into that on another episode. But the main point I'm making here is just, I got to tell you folks, sometimes, we say nobody's coming to save you, and in a sense, that's true. Jesus saves your soul, but here on the planet, you've got to save yourself. And you do that by taking action. But that doesn't mean that you're all alone in the battles and the wars in your companies, in your business, in your marketing. You still need a team of people that you work with. In the end, ultimately, it comes down to you, what you do or what you fail to do. But I found that, I had to reach out to Bryce Prescott. And I'm like, look, man, I can't do this on my own. I'm just not savvy enough. I'm just, I get frustrated. I need a professional. And when you hire a professional, it saves you all this time, trouble, and red tape. And you get right down to it. It's like I tell people that, like, hey man, I went online and I read this about the law, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess I should go on WebMD and take out my own appendix. I'm like, no. So, with the podcasting and communicating my message and marketing is about connecting, by the way, it's not advertising. But, I'm just telling y'all need to do this podcasting. Y'all need to hire this guy. Y'all need to do it. You need it for your business and your companies and be able to express yourself. Because you know what I hate too is when you have this idea and it's your brand and everybody tries to package you the way they see it. But here's the deal. It's your company. It's your business. It's your brand. And the great thing about Bryce Prescott is he didn't try to change me. He didn't try to change me. He didn't try to package me into something I'm not. What he did was he took the best versions out of me and put them on the table and said, look, man, look at these talents that you have. Let's take these talents that you have and let's just make them even better. And I have the skill sets and the tools and the knowledge to take, that rough stone there and make you into this diamond. And I got to tell you, after almost a year of podcasting, it just feels so natural to come in here and just, hook up the machine, the computer, the microphone, and just have a lot more knowledge and a lot more skill sets than I had a year ago. And as you do these repetitions, as you do these podcasts, you do develop unique skills in speaking and thinking, even off the cuff. I mean, when I come in here and do my podcast, I don't have any, notes or big scripts or anything like that. I just determine like, hey, this is what I want to talk about today. Now, occasionally, I'll have some sheets with some statistics, because I don't want to plagiarize and I want to give credit where credit is due. But when I come in to do the podcast, I don't have this big long out script or a teleprompter or anything. I'm sitting here in this beautiful room, this office right here. And, I'm like, hey, what do I want to talk about? I thought, you know what? I need to be grateful today. I need to be grateful to Bryce Prescott and his production team and everything that he's done for me over the last year and the weekly conversations, personal one-on-one. And just being there for me, really almost, 7 days a week. In fact, we're going to talk again today. We just talked yesterday. So, as part of your business, as part of your company, as part of your marketing, I'm telling you, y'all need to get into the podcasting. There's over 7 billion people on this planet. And some people go, God, man, there's so many people out there. There's so much noise. I'm like, yeah, well, there is a lot of noise, but it doesn't mean you have to be the noise they don't want to hear. There's people, I'm telling you, they're looking for you. They're looking for leaders in industries. They're looking for a message. They're looking for like, hey, what do I do? And you can come to them and be the problem solver. I mean, who the hell watches TV anymore? I mean, come on. It's just a bunch of crap on TV. A lot of people, they're at work, they listen to the radio. A lot of people, they have their social media and their phones, their computers, and it's one of the main methods of communication today. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's used for the right purpose. Well, I like watching podcasts. I like hearing what people have to say. I have learned so much about companies and industries and people and things that I never knew before. And the way I learned about them was listening to people in their particular subject areas that they were experts at, or at least concentrated in. And I just, I think it's the way to go. I mean, let's think about this. Back in, when radio first came out, especially during Franklin Delano Roosevelt's administration in the 30s, during the Great Depression, and people, man, it was a bad time. But he would have these weekly, fireside chats, and people would turn on their radios and they would listen to the President of the United States. Now, I don't care whether they like FDR or not. That's not the point. The point is that he was smart enough and brilliant enough to use the medium of the radio, was really podcasting. That's really what it is. You have microphones, you're in a studio or you're in the Oval Office of the White House, at least he was, and he is talking to people as if he's sitting right there with them, and he's connecting. And that's a great thing. So even with the podcast, if it's just the voice, people can still connect. Or if it's the voice and you see him, on video as well too, whether it's live or recorded, you can still connect with them. And I think there's so much power in speech. That's why freedom of speech is so critical and so important, so that you can get your message out there. Now, that's not to say that some people as well, have nefarious messages and do evil things, but that's why you have to have people like you and me and others and Bryce Prescott that can counter the evil in the world with fighting the good fight with the good messages and the good communication. So I got to tell you, I'm always stoked. I'm always excited. And it's just so refreshing each week to be able to come in here and talk to you all and just think of a subject and a topic. And sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m. and I have to email myself. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I think that's relevant. I think it's raw. I think it's real. And I think that message will bring results. And then I come in here and I record it, and I upload it. And the only thing I got to do is push a button and send it to Bryce Prescott, and that's it. They go into my Dropbox. They pull all that stuff out. And man, they just do amazing wonders with it. I'm just amazed. They make it look so simple. And I know it's not simple. It's not. They think it is. I don't think it's simple. But they take all the worry away from me. They take all the frustration away from me. They take all the red tape away from me. And they're just like, look, man, just give it to us. Just hand it off. Hand it towards us. We'll take it from here. Go do what you do best. And we're going to do what we do best. And we're going to produce it. And we're going to release it on time. And they do so much more. I mean, it's not just the podcasting Bryce Prescott does. I mean, he's helping me write out and develop, this curriculum for this junior partner program where we want law students or college students and high school students to, live in reality, come in here and sit at the head table and make major command decisions and run a firm so that they can open, own, operate, and lead their own law firms from day one when they get sworn in as a lawyer. Or maybe they don't have to be a lawyer. Maybe they just want to manage a firm, But, essentially our program is for lawyers to lead it. And we do that by communicating that message out there by these podcasts and recording these episodes of Escape the Legal Matrix that resonate with law students and hopefully with lawyers too about things that they may not want to talk about or don't talk about. And they're scared to talk about. Well, we're going to talk about them. And so, of course, along those lines, you have to be grateful. You have to have gratitude. You can't go through life and just people help you and you just use them. No. And so I want Bryce Prescott to know right here, right now, how much I love that dude, how great he is in my life, how instrumental he is. How, if I had not really found this podcasting, I'm not really sure where I'd be, almost a year later. And, a couple of years ago when I kind of found my sole purpose on this event I was at with Wake Up Warrior, with Escape the Legal Matrix came to me, writing out all these topics for this book I'm going to release hopefully in 2025. And doing these podcasts, it's just a sole purpose. It was like an epiphany where it just came into my head and this conviction. And I knew when I heard Bryce Prescott, I knew it when I heard him talking that night and talking about the podcasting and what it does. I mean, there was just no doubt in my mind. There was no reservation. I was like, man, I'm getting this guy on the phone right now. And I had no hesitation, paying him, hiring him. The value of what he does, of what he gives is just instrumental. So I want you, to ask yourself the better question. Where in your world are you failing in marketing? Where in your world are you not communicating your message? And where in your world do you really need the professionals to help you? Don't try and do everything on your own. It can get frustrating. It can. And you don't have to. You don't have to in marketing. You don't have to in this thing we call podcasting. I'm telling you, if you do podcasting, it's liberating. It gives you freedom that you never experienced before. And a lot of you think you're free, but you're not. But I'm telling you, you sit in front of a microphone, you come up with a topic, and you're able to express yourself the way you really are, the way you really feel, and it's your brand. And you've got this professional team that says, "Look, man, we're gonna help you, and we're gonna deploy you out there in the field, out there in the world, and we're gonna make you the best version of who you are. We're just pulling it out of you, and we're putting it out there on the street so other people can see it." Don't hide. Don't sit in a room. People need to hear your message. If you've got a message, I'm telling you, there's people out there you haven't met yet, people waiting on you and your future that you're going to help, help them to save themselves. But if you don't communicate your message, they'll never know who you are. They'll never know. They'll never know because you will have committed probably one of the biggest sins. And you know what that is? That is not sharing you with the world. And one of the biggest blessings I ever got was Bryce Prescott sharing his world with me. Okay, so I want you to meditate on that. I want you to think about what we talked about. I want you to contact Bryce Prescott. And he didn't ask me to do this. I just thought this morning, I'm like, you know what? Damn, I can't wait to do my podcast recording today. And I thought, I need to let this guy know how much I love him and how grateful I am to have him in my life and how blessed I am instead of whining and complaining all the time. So ask yourself those better questions and then take action. Contact Bryce Prescott. If you have questions, you can shoot a direct message to me or email me at brycedenier@gmail.com, and I could certainly give you his direct contact information. But hey, I got more stuff to do today, and this podcast has really invigorated me to continue on in my day. So I just want to say love and light. This is Bryce Denier coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, and we are out here.